Yeah. Yeah, you have to know the subject too. Yeah, you have to have some familiarity with him.
Well, you have to, not look at him like he's,
You have to
Kim
know.
Jong,
Yeah, you have to have
Kim Jong Un, Kim Jong Moon pie or something.
some. Yeah, that's somebody was saying, some comedian was like, when it's AI when Trump is in a normal scene.
When he's not acting weird.
Right, yeah.
It's just bizarre.
Uh,
Right, right,
so
right.
we wanted to start with this.
Well, this is all kind of what we're starting with anyway. It's just
Okay.
that Donald Trump supporters have been creating and sharing AI generated fake images of Black voters to encourage African Americans to vote Republican. And I think if you want to share your screen again, you can share your screen again, or I can share my screen.
If you want, do you want to? Okay, I mean, let me.
I like your face on the camera better. So I wish there was I wonder how we could, I think when we do OBS, we're gonna have that figured out better.
Yeah.
But
Are
in
we
the
gonna
meantime,
have? Are we gonna have an intro? Do we have an intro?
I hate ones with like intros, like "Blah-da-da-da-da." Like I don't think anyone really likes that, but I think that there should probably be some kind of like, hey, here's what we're doing, we're here's who we are and here's what we're doing kind of thing. Would not be a bad idea to start everyone out like, hey, this is the date we're doing it. This is what we're doing.
No,
And
we need a badass song because we're a bunch of bad mofos. As I sit here with the most dad shirt on the
what is
history
this
of the
on time
news.
every day, all
We should.
day?
I thought
This is my son's school shirt.
It's
Oh, I
adorable.
thought it was like for Thatcher Longstreth or something. Like, oh, it's a big thing.
No,
Doing callbacks
no.
to old Philly politics.
That is a callback. No, this is my son's school.
That's adorable.
Um,
Amazing.
so you want me to bring it up?
Yeah, let's
Sure.
take a look at that.
You
It'll
got the
make it
new
a little
rig.
easier. Yeah, you're looking good.
Let me bring up share. Yep, there we go. Share. Okay, you got me?
I
Mhm.
gotcha.
You're there.
So yeah, like come on here. Like darn well, like dude is like super germaphobe. Like that's one of the things, other than being a corrupt POS and like somebody not to do business with,
Right.
like that's the other thing he's like most known for. Like, there's no way.
No,
Hmm.
No
that's
way.
a really good point. And you know what? No one's talking, no one's mentioning that, but you're right. That's like your main tell is that he would never just sit down with people that close to him.
One and then here's the other thing is I've met the Blacks for Trump people,
Yeah.
and they are some of the weirdest people I've ever met in my entire life. Normal black people are not going to want to be associated with it because number one, like, what do they have in common? Like, he's a rich dude.
Right.
Like, it would be like, well, me, hanging out with a Nazi.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, right.
It would be like me hanging out with a Nazi. Like, it's just not going to happen. I don't want to be near you. You don't want to be near me. We
Hmm.
weird each other out.
I exactly. I can't even. Well, we speaking of the blacks for Trump, we had back in the day behind our office when we had an office, the landlord rented out the space to blacks for Trump, wasn't it?
It
That was what
was,
they
yeah.
called. And
Hmm.
he was the weirdest
No, it was
person.
no, it was
Are you
Who
talking
was
about the
it?
main dude, that one that's always there?
no, 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 no,
No,
no.
no.
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
was a
Okay.
female it was a female who was in the office in the back, and actually our landlord said you should actually reach out to interview this person, and we did. We actually got Sandy Smith from Philly Magazine, who is a black man, and he reached out to her, and she just did not give him the time of day. We
No,
reached out to her, she would not respond.
they didn't
So
want to
yeah,
talk to
they
us.
weren't exactly into an interview.
No.
Well, that's super. Well, you know what? I've found that like all of the Republican
Yeah.
like Republicans that are like forward facing
Yep.
are all super weird.
I
There
agree.
was the one chick from the Oz thing.
Yep.
I can't remember what her name was off the top of my head. Uh
You do
like
the
matter of fact,
story on her.
yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
actually, I was coming home from synagogue a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and she like stopped me on the trolley. I was you know how you've seen me like in public, how I am.
Sure.
I'm clearly not interested in dealing with anybody. I
Yeah.
clearly just came from, shul.
Mhm.
Yep.
Got my kippah on, got my prayer shawl. Like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to go home. And she's like, "Do you want to interview me still?" From when I had seen her at the Moms for Liberty conference.
Oof.
Which was like
It
a
was,
what? How many years?
yeah.
Right?
Well, that was last year,
Hysteria.
Okay.
but it was like early or midsummer, I think.
Right. Was that when they were at the American
At
Revolution
the
Museum or whatever?
Well, they were there, and then they were at the Marriott
Yeah. Yeah.
downtown, and it
Mhm.
was just so weird. I'm surprised I didn't realize it was her at the time
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I had seen her at the Marriott.
That's so weird. What did
Huh.
you tell her?
I was like, "Look, lady, I just got out of synagogue. I'm trying to go home and like be about like me and God, here.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
You're
Like,
first in my bubble.
yeah." So, but
That was that.
anyways.
Anyhow.
So, like what I was saying earlier, is AI has it's easy. It's so easy for people to spot these things. Like aside from the super obvious like cultural stuff, you
Sure.
know, because AI is so terrible with things like hands. It doesn't do
Okay.
well with like text on
Nope.
anything, really.
No.
Like the guy's shirt here, you can't make out what that is.
No.
Mhm.
The
No.
guy's hat up here,
Right. What does that even say? It's just nothing. What does
yeah,
this?
it's just gibberish.
Does his watch look like a watch if you zoom in on that guy's watch? Right there. Does it have the time on it or is it just gibberish again? Oh, gibberish.
Uh,
It looks like it's cracked.
yeah, I don't even
Yeah.
know. Like, and this
So
should
weird.
be a fairly clear image
Yeah.
That
for
watch
whatever
should
this is.
show. It's a big
And
ass
I
watch.
don't, and I don't know what this
Oh
is.
no, he's wearing two watches.
Is that it?
I don't
This
No,
know.
looks like a
no,
watch. That's
What is
not a
that?
watch, but I
No,
don't
what
know
is that?
what it
not.
is.
It looks like a rubber, wristband,
Well,
like
what's the thing
But
Lincoln watch or
in
something.
what's the
between
thing
there,
between?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah, that's not a
yeah, I
watch.
don't
And
know.
what's on Trump's
It's not a
cuff?
watch
What's
band.
there? What's Trump wearing? Is that a watch or is that just a bracelet? What is that?
It
Like
looks like
light up
it's
watch.
supposed to be a watch,
So
Yeah.
weird. And the hands
but
are
that
so
could be just
big.
be weird rich people stuff.
I know, but look
Yeah.
at that finger. That is so gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
His three fingers on his I guess that's his what, right
Claw.
hand.
His claw.
He was
And
in an
then he's got
industrial
like the half
accident. Yeah,
finger
that's
there.
right. Wow.
I don't even understand it. It's so gross. But the problem is, and do you want to switch back to you whenever you're ready too? Because
Well,
again,
we have another
oh
image
yes,
here.
yes, yes.
Yeah, let's take a look.
This is the funnier one. I don't know what's going on here. If this guy,
That's the best.
got three hands, or he's just happy to con somebody.
Oh my God,
But,
look at that. Oh my God.
He's got three hands here.
Now there's
a,
someone behind him. That's it. We're just not
a
seeing.
weirdly long pinky that
Oh
looks like
God.
something out of like ET with like a voter sticker or something
Oh
there.
yeah, look at that. Ew.
Then you've got
Whatever the
great
shirt says.
Yeah.
Graded G.
some
Great.
and something that looks like maybe Korean, or it looks Korean. I don't
Southeast
know.
Asian signs. Yeah.
Something there.
Oh,
And
hat,
then
hat, looking
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what that remotely says,
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
but it's supposed to be a Trump hat.
Right? No,
That
look at that.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
His logo shirt again. That's pretty good. And Mickey.
Yeah,
and
actually,
Mickey.
This poor guy needs to lotion though. He's got some ashy ass elbows.
Aw.
actually, it makes Kate Middleton's picture look like a masterpiece.
Right?
Well, that was Photoshop. This is AI.
Yeah, yeah.
You got the
Yeah.
hand over here that's like skewed like this.
Yeah.
So weird.
But people don't look at all of that. They just
Yeah,
see
I
it.
think they're hoping. Yeah, you just breeze
Well,
past.
because again, again, this is not for black folks.
No.
Like black folks are they know there's not more than a baker's dozen of these weirdos out there. And the Republicans aren't even trying. They just eliminated their minority outreach group. Like they're not even trying anymore. And they did this before the Nepo baby took over. You know, how Nepo is that, by the way?
Oh my God.
I can't
Oh,
even.
you can't be more obvious. That's like
I can't even.
that's like Eastern European dictator shit right there.
Right?
That's Orban stuff.
I don't. Yeah, this is a
We're
bad
we're
week.
we're gonna eliminate all the waste and put all that money where it's supposed to go, to Trump's legal bills.
Into a billionaire's pocket.
Yeah.
Why does a
Yeah, right?
billionaire need help paying his
Their
bills?
down ballot races.
I need some help. He shouldn't need help.
Their
It's
down
bizarre.
ballot races are going to be a disaster. I'm so
Oh yeah, they're
so like he's doing this.
they're more than likely going to lose the seats in the House and in the Senate.
Yeah.
Unless like states step up, which I doubt it. Michigan can't even get their house in order.
Yeah.
You
I think
know,
Arizona's got like
Arizona.
5 figures in their bank account, something like that. It's like 10,000.
Yeah. And not only that, but like they're like still doing crazy nonsense with Carrie Lake,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is, Carrie Lake is such a shame because she, I'm married, so, take this, but she was kind of cute.
Mhm.
And she used to have
Yeah.
like a good career, like where like she actually made some contribution and had like some political and cultural capital,
Mhm.
and she just chucked it all.
It's so weird. Why would someone who already has a decent job that people would kill for? I mean, she's comfortable. So why? What is going on?
It's about power and influence, and ultimately it's about pushing your values, ideas
Hmm.
onto other people, whether you like it or not. And she saw, and it's also about the grift. It's always about the grift.
But doesn't the grift, from my point of view, the grift looks stupid. Like it
Of
doesn't
course it
look
does, because you
so.
have brain cells that you can rub together.
But she has brain cells, so why can't she see this is the wrong grift? This is a failing grift. Why? Or
Because it's
is it
not.
not a? That's what I mean. Like how?
Because it's not a failing grift, because there is still what, like 30-40%
It is, yeah.
of the voting population
Right.
Mhm.
that willingly
Yeah.
and enthusiastically
Right.
fall for the grift every single day.
Right.
Mhm.
And is it true that that's how that Hitler's Germany, the Nazis only had like 30%, right? But somehow they took over?
It was a smaller percentage of the population, but they were also able to cobble together coalitions. I hope nobody saw my cigarette pack. I'm not advertising cigarettes. I'm smoking cigarettes, but I'm not advertising them.
Yeah, yeah.
I have standards. But he was able to cobble together people from the center and throughout the right, so in America, that would be like center right centrists, like Joe Manchin, that sort, with the Christian evangelicals in America,
Right.
the Christian nationalists in America, the white supremacists in America, and just the cowardly, weak Republicans. And then on top of that, he's able to get all of the idiots that are just too lazy or uninformed because they're busting their ass trying to, survive in the country that's screwing them by the people that screw,
Yeah.
they're getting screwed over by, and pulled in by these people that are screwing them over.
Mhm.
So and that's what he's able to do, is he's able to convince these people somehow that a billionaire gives two shits about them.
Mhm.
And is not only gives two shits about, but he's going to lead the country to glory again, like we ever had glory. Like, I don't even understand. I don't.
I am as patriotic as anybody can be, and I love my country. It's never been perfect. There were periods where some things were good, some things were bad, and it's always been like that.
Mhm.
you know in the 50s, and after World War II, you had an economic boom. That economic boom was largely to come for because of what today's Republicans would consider socialism.
Right.
But Roosevelt saw that the country needed to get back on track, and he invested. And that's what Biden is doing. He's investing.
Right.
He's investing so much money into Philly right now. And I'm so grateful for that. And all of Pennsylvania.
Right.
He's invested money, all kinds of money
Our
into
our
the Midwest.
our Queen Lane Reservoir. We're working on backup,
Yeah.
water redundancy, so that if something
Yeah.
spills in the Delaware, we can have a backup reservoir.
They just, I think they're finished on my road, on my street. They just finished replacing, I think, the gas pipes,
Mhm.
PGW,
Right.
on our street. They've
Nice.
been doing that on all of our streets. They've been replacing water pipes on our streets.
Right.
Mhm.
And, I was talking to an Uber driver the other day, who was, a Democrat, but like he leaned left, but he hadn't really voted because he didn't feel like there was being an impact. And we were talking, and I was like, but they're investing money in Philly now, He's like, there's still parts of Philly that aren't getting that money. I said, give it time.
Mhm.
Those areas will get some of that money. I promise you.
Mhm.
Like, there is so much money flowing into infrastructure into this city and into like Pittsburgh and like all throughout that it's ridiculous
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And but
because it's needed.
yes, yes. But the narrative that you're getting from everybody on the right is how horrible the country is and how we're disgusting and there's crime everywhere. Like, how is that supposed to help anything?
Crime has actually gone down significantly since 2022, I think,
Mhm.
was the peak of this recent spike.
Yeah.
Murders and homicides
Right.
are dropping like by like 15% over year. So it's going back down. It was clearly because of the pandemic,
Yes.
and it's clearly tied to the economic situation that the poorest Americans feel.
Mhm.
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 You know,
Right. My biggest
Eh,
fear though is that even though it's getting better, the narrative that people are choosing to believe is that everything's a mess and everything's Biden's fault. And, we're near nuclear war now and millions of people are storming our borders. And it's just, I don't like, what do we do with, how do you stop the fire hose of lies, really?
I will repeat what the folks over at Pod Save America have said repeatedly. We need to develop and fund and push a left-wing counter to the right-wing media superstructure
Right.
that is overwhelming out there.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
because what's the old saying? A lie will go around the world like 7 times before the truth even gets its shoes on.
Yep, yep.
You
But I mean,
know,
remember Air America? We tried that in like, was it 2000, 2002, something like that.
Yeah.
Remember Air America, Al Franken was on it, and they tried, but it's boring because the truth is nuanced and not exciting and doesn't make you angry so much, you
Well,
know?
that's just because they don't have my asshole self on there.
I think there needs to be like we need to stoop, kind of. Is it wrong for me to feel like we need to get lower?
Of course. No, you have to have some teeth. I mean, that's necessary.
I'm always down to get lower.
Well, how to get lower? Where do we how to make something as sensational as migrants are pouring in and destroying our country? How do you counter that with the something
funny.
that is what's exciting?
Humor.
With funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Al Franken tried.
Mockery.
Mockery.
But Al Frank, come on, let's be real. Al Franken was never that funny. He was never that funny. He was funny, but not that funny.
Yeah. There was like a Harry Shearer bit. I remember I tried to listen to it and I couldn't for more than a couple of minutes because it sounded like he was making fun of like Lake Wobegon, like trying to take the air out of Lake Wobegon.
I haven't heard that name in so long. Which that was actually pretty funny for like
that was funny.
Like in an old people sense.
Yes.
You need to make it funny though for younger people.
Gotta be faster.
Yeah.
Hipper, quicker.
We're not in Lake Wobegon.
Right. You know, it was
How does your camera do revert? How come I can read your text?
I don't know.
But mine reverses.
I don't know.
Can't even. Yeah, yours is backwards. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can see yours. That's neat.
I can see yours just fine. The case for cancel culture.
Ours is backwards here. I mean,
is that backwards on your end?
No.
This sign's backwards?
I can't even. Well, the sign is backwards.
Interesting.
Wow. So we're seeing it. We're seeing it the other way around here. That's funny.
Okay, well that's good. I can change it back then.
Hey, it's all about perspective, right?
That's wild.
Gotta get that in there. Duck and rabbit. It depends on your perspective.
Yep.
Very funny. That's our logo.
It's a good shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of the migrant thing, let's move on to that bit of propaganda. Let me see. Where am I at? Here we are.
Is where we get very afraid?
Yeah, I think
I need to.
No, I got
the funny speech. We're gonna pass that.
We'll get back to that at some point.
Go to Lake and Riley's name with the thousands of Americans. Is that one?
No, it's the Margaret one. The migrants are defecating in.
Oh, that was a good one. Yes.
As if homeless people are sorry, that was rude.
That was actually
unhoused folks haven't been having to do that for like ever.
All right. Well, you want
like as long as there were subways.
Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so
welcome to the new America.
Hold on. It's gonna be good. All right. One share. How do I do this?
No, you just push the share screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we pick
right there. Yeah.
This one.
Down. Or is it?
That's
that
it.
one?
Okay.
So.
Share.
This is fucking disgusting. Like that's not even real right now. Oh.
I love how like the people are like, whatever, I don't fucking care. Just staring at their phones, The old lady is like, she had her little peek and then she, kept moving. But like seriously though, like this was a joke, mind you, from like 2019, if I remember.
It was. But the comments, dude.
Oh yeah.
If Trump gets in, he already said it's gonna do a mass deportation.
Like, dude's not even really like an immigrant. Like, I mean, he's just a dude traveling, and like he's like a YouTube dude.
Yeah.
Mind you, that says a lot about like YouTube culture and as we're on YouTube here.
So what's the backstory again? This is 2019.
It's 2019. Dude is like one of those YouTube prankster,
Mhm.
Okay.
sort of dudes. And if I recall, he had like seen something, in Europe
Yeah.
where something like similar
He
was happening.
travels somewhere and he
Yeah.
saw that
And he
people
had
in
seen,
other.
yeah. And he thought it would be funny, to do it here in the US and see what the reactions would be. Which, I mean,
That is
it's,
pretty funny, yeah.
I mean, it is pretty funny, but it's also a little dehumanizing too.
That's true.
And I have a real problem with that because like it dehumanizes people that actually have to do like their bodily functions
Yeah.
in public. People who have to pee, poop, eat, sleep, in public because there is no place for them.
Right.
They have
Right. They
no,
shut the bathrooms and stuff.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can't just go into a restaurant anymore, and use the restroom real quick.
Well,
There's no,
what about even public restrooms? I mean, there's
they're
so
very
far
few and far
Very
between.
few and
Yeah.
far
Very
between.
few
'Cause-
and far between. You have some places like DC where there's a lot of them, like maybe in the big national parks or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like in Philly, there's not that many. There's
Oh, wow.
they had some porta potties around City Hall for a while.
Mhm.
But those were time limited. You couldn't go after like a certain,
Yes. Which is stupid because then people poop on the streets and then people complain that there's poop on the streets. And it's like,
Well, yeah,
give people bathrooms. They're like, well, if we give them bathrooms, they're going to shoot up in there. Well,
okay.
all right, exactly.
Give
Well,
them give them some place that they can do that's safe, and they won't do that there.
Right.
I mean, but you're taking away. Parker, has taken away. City Council has taken away, like the main method of reducing harm in that regard, while also not providing actual solutions. Obviously the ultimate actual solution is provide fucking housing for everybody, but until we get there, until there's the political capital to get there, there should be fucking public bathrooms everywhere,
Right.
whether it's porta potties or like legit public bathrooms that people can use. And honestly, that may actually boost employment in the city because somebody's got to clean the shit,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
It's true.
Right. You have those cool ones like in Europe where they're just self-clean. Where you leave. That'd be nice.
Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, Paris has them. They close behind you and then they like sanitize themselves. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice, but I'd rather hire somebody,
Sure,
to do that.
sure. Well, I'm sure someone has to eventually go and like it doesn't like
I
disappear.
emailed you a link to the
Oh.
Philly Flush program.
Oh, Philly Flush.
Philly Flush. It's a pilot program based on Portland. 6 public bathrooms. Go ahead,
What?
check your email.
A
Why
whole
do I need to check my
6?
email?
A
A whole
six.
6
Yeah.
in a city that's what, 10 miles by 10 miles?
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's a pilot, so I don't
Why
know.
do we need
how-
to check my email? What is
Well,
this?
click on that
Why?
so that you can share the screen on that and you can see. Since we're talking about public toilets.
Okay.
I believe there should be a dick joke here. Somebody needs to come up with a dick joke. Where's the dick jokes? Got any fart jokes? Where's my son when I need him?
We just need one of those and then
I'll let it go
okay,
over
so
there.
there you
Yeah.
go. Votes are in. People have decided Philadelphia's new public restrooms will be named Philly Flush. 6 public standalone restrooms are part of the Portland Lube pilot program announced last month. 5-year budget funds the 6 toilets, each in a different neighborhood. Ooh, who are the lucky neighborhoods? The first one has opened at Federal Square in North Philly.
But did you say federal? It's
Federal.
federal.
Is it? Why is it
It's
spelled
federal.
federal? Why
I
is
don't
it
know.
spelled
It's federal.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it federal or federal?
No, it's
It says
federal.
FOTTERALL.
I guess that's-
Federal.
That's not a place.
Well, scroll up so you can see the video on it. I'm just curious.
What?
Because let's see, does it even
There's,
play?
it's not going to play, Steve. There's too much bandwidth going
Okay.
on.
Oh, the There you go.
There you go. Ah.
Yeah, I think they tried to make them somewhat indestructible and of course not very
Comfortable.
comfortable so you can stay in there for too long. I think that's part of it.
They have like spikes on the seats.
Something like that. Yeah. Like the pigeon spikes. Yeah. Like you see at the
All you
train.
gotta do is model them after like Philly jail toilets. Nobody will want to go in there if they don't have to.
Or just make them like big pink fluorescent wallpaper and stuff, just really tacky. People would
Yeah.
just be like, "Oh God, this is awful." Make
No,
it smell like an
you
old
know,
lady
this
bathroom.
this is Philly. People would love that.
People would love it. Well, what would your
White people would love that.
Oh,
well,
yes.
well, yeah, but
Absolutely.
you know, the target people who don't want it, I guess. If you want to keep people out, what would you put, like posters of Pat Boone or whatever?
Or you type Pat Boone music in there.
Music in there. Yeah, like how would you make it so that people doing drugs wouldn't want to do drugs in there? Like what would you put in there?
I don't know, you could play some blues, but that just makes somebody want to kill
It just
themselves
had
after doing some heroin.
the
or some
Barney song,
fentanyl.
maybe.
Oh Jesus. No, Baby Shark.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah, that drive everybody out.
Everybody.
Or the Cards for Kids song.
The Cards for Kids.
Cars for kids.
Cars for Kids.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
see, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't have that in my head yet. So I don't need it.
It shows up on John Oliver and The Daily Show every so often.
That does it.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, that would be fun.
It makes me want to kill myself every time I see that.
Well,
And it's for a Jewish charity.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
No wonder we're losing the propaganda war.
Yeah, you were getting back to the you were touching on the Mayor Parker thing with Kensington.
yeah.
I know that she's causing some real trouble, like driving people out of the leases, some of those places that are offering needle exchanges and things
Yeah,
like
I can't remember the names of the places off the top of my head, but she's already, driven one out.
Mhm.
And she's on the verge of pushing the other one out as well.
Mhm.
So there's not going to be anybody to provide clean needles, which is going to increase the rate of infection for HIV among, people who use intravenous drugs, which has already become problematic. It's already up to like 13% of new HIV infections.
Mm.
And it's largely white people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff with that, but that's for written stuff that I'm working on.
Right. Right. And she also reneged on the tiny houses, right?
Yes.
That is awful.
Yes. Which it is like
mean.
Who's
Just
that?
mean.
Who's that harming?
Mean. And they already worked on it. They have like 25 grand sunk into it, the nonprofit itself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just mean.
It is literally like just cruel. It's cruel. Like, that these are needed. They've been promised. People have been working on it. Like, these people fought for this.
Yeah.
And you're kicking them in the nuts while they're already down.
Yeah.
It's just, I couldn't believe
And
it.
it just seems like you just are trying to just move the problem along to another area. You're not trying to solve
Absolutely.
it.
That's
just
always
trying to make it so uncomfortable for them that nobody will stay there and the neighbors will be happy, but they're going to go somewhere else.
But it's
somewhere.
just a more extreme version of what Kenny was doing with the sweeps. Like those sweeps never worked.
No.
They would go, they would move to another spot. People would get angry about it. They would come in and do another sweep. They'd go, they'd move to another spot. And it's cruel on all fronts because it doesn't solve the problem. It criminalizes people for their economic status.
Yep.
And it destroys a community of safety.
Oh, I
Like,
just want to
for
draw
these-
attention to, it looks like we have one person watching and we had 2 people watching at one point. So I just wanted to say, wow, this is just
Well,
a
have-
pilot program. We're just
Who-
farting around
whoever
here.
you are out there that I
Thank
pissed
you,
off.
sorry.
No, that I pissed off. I am sorry. Not sorry. Sorry, not
You
sorry.
just cut our audience in half, Cory. Thanks.
This is a pilot. We don't know what we're doing, but thank you for checking in.
Punks.
Yes. hunks. But yes, I was really just truly disappointed. So I didn't mean to interrupt your conversation there. That was really
No,
Honestly, though, but I told you guys, and I told everybody to expect this
yeah.
from her. I told you that she was just going to do the same old nonsense that Kenny was doing, only worse.
I was gonna say it seems worse. Kenny actually agreed to this part. She's just reneged, and that's just terrible.
Mhm.
Again, they put in money already. 25, that's a lot of money. That's
Yeah.
so disappointing.
Yeah.
And again, all of these houses, how many, I forget what the number was, but you probably know better, that we have so many, the land bank is sitting on property that could
Oh, there's
easily,
there's tons and tons of property. There's I think there's 20 to 25 abandoned housing units
right?
per every single homeless person in the city.
It's
Like
insane,
man, woman, and child. Like each one of them could have their selection
right?
of 25 unused housing units to get repaired
Right.
and live in.
Right. And they're ours. They're public. They belong to us all, right? So why can't they, and there are people in these neighborhoods, from what I understand, that a lot of them are they're abandoned, so they're blight, and people in the neighborhood would like to restore them, and they actually want them fixed. So it
Well,
does.
this goes to a story that I had written a couple months ago, about there's a little known law in Philly. I wrote it for the
Metro.
New Mainstream, yeah. Um, and it basically, there's a law that says that nonprofits can come in and buy up abandoned properties,
Right.
and they're supposed to rehab them.
Mhm.
And what they're actually doing is they're buying them up and either letting them set for longer, or rehabbing them and selling them at a cost, a fair housing cost,
Mhm.
you know, to larger corporations, or those corporations are, transferring them over from a nonprofit side to a profit side, and, you know, making a profit off of it.
Right.
And it disproportionately is affecting Black and brown communities and the Asian community, which all have a difficult time accessing new housing options, whether it's buying a house or, rent, which is outrageous in this city for what people, are living off of.
Right.
It's beyond outrageous. You can't even, as a single person in the city, you can't even afford to rent an apartment
Right.
in Philly. Who could afford, as a young, 20 something, even 30 something, making, just over minimum wage for the city, which is, I think, 1560 or something
Mhm.
in the city. But you can't afford over $1,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment.
Right. It works out to something like 40 to 50% of your entire paycheck. That's just insane.
Yeah.
It, and the other option, which is sort of more affordable, but unless you have great credit and can save, is to buy a house,
Right.
which I pay, significantly less,
Right. But there are significant more expenses later on too.
there
If you have to
are
access a
there
lot.
are down the line,
Right.
but I think I pay $1,000 a month now between taxes and insurance
Right.
for a essentially a 3-bedroom house with
Right. But
office
that's
space,
right. But
you
that's
know.
depending on people with, credit and income that you can
Yeah.
all that other stuff. And here's another thought that I think that was pointed out to me a while ago that it's always stuck in my head when it comes to housing and people saying affordable housing, blah, 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 blah. Well, the city used to have a really healthy, we got built in the 1900s to the 1920s when there was a big boom and industry was going crazy. Well, part of your salary was a house. All the half of our housing on these row houses that you see around factories, those were all built by the factories, and
That's
they
true.
housed their workers for that was you lived. Now it wasn't ideal, obviously.
Now,
But
I'm not
still,
a big fan of like company
no,
towns,
no.
you know,
Yeah, they have a lot
but
of leverage over you.
Sure, no, that's not
yeah,
ideal.
Call in sick. and
they
give you
already
the
have
bucks.
too much leverage.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, you know, those factories were at least they were contributing. They created this housing. So like where something else needs to fill in that blank. If you don't, if it doesn't benefit the
Yeah,
business,
rich people
no
need
one
to start
should.
fucking coming off that money and fucking, you
Mhm.
know, paying their fair share.
You gotta,
You know,
yeah.
Jeff Yaz, instead of, you know, hanging about with, you know, Donald Trump,
Mhm.
you know, needs to, you know, be paying his fair share. Jeff Bezos needs to fucking come off of some of those hundreds of billions, I think.
Insane.
You know, like
Insane.
how much do you need?
Yeah,
How much
I
do
know.
you need?
Yeah.
I know. And they all made like crazy money during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And they all the inflation, half of it is just them being greedy. Half of them is just jacking
No,
prices because they
almost
can.
entirely.
Right.
The inflation thing was
Crazy.
almost entirely
Yeah.
corporations
Yeah.
being
Gouging.
greedy. Yeah.
Gouging. And then but they love it because then they just blame the president and then they
Yeah.
can make
Or
everybody be
or
like,
the
right?
supply chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just we're so fucked, Cory. We are just so fucked. I am so down. I don't know how we're gonna get out of this hole. They have the lock
I
on the Supreme Court.
you know, I cannot afford to be down. I
Yeah.
cannot afford to be as pessimistic as I might want to be.
So hard.
You know, because I have John to look to. I have my literal survival, you know, right now in this moment to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so I can't afford to be down. I have to be positive and optimistic and work toward and hope for a better future for this country. You know.
I don't know.
Keep grinding.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's so hard.
That's why, you know, I needed the break to work for AI, because otherwise I'm gonna have like a heart attack within like the next 5 years.
I'm telling you. Well, I hope that was gonna. I hope that's
Yeah.
gonna help us. Working for our AI overlords is going to help us. Do you have any idea what they're doing with the stuff we're working on?
I think it's creative. So like they're teaching it how to be, I don't know, normal.
I don't know.
You should feed it some jokes.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about seeing it if I could get it to tell jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
probably be quite baffled by humor. I mean, it would be interesting.
Speaking of humor, if that's our way out of this, then yeah, we need AI to be funnier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they're going towards, but I was wondering if there's got to be other organizations picking up on this, not just Outlier. Do you know of other organizations that are doing this large
There
language model training?
there is let me see if I can find my email here. You disappeared for a second. Move this over here. Email. There is a name for it because
Because I could use a second
Scale
one.
AI. Scale
What's it called?
AI. Scale
Scale?
AI. Yeah. Like,
Scale.
you know, scale.
like a
Yeah,
scale.
AI.
Like I don't step on the scale because my ass is fat.
There.
That's its tagline.
That's its tagline.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey. I resemble that remark.
Yeah, because I could use a second one of these would be great.
Juggling them.
Sure, yeah. Why not?
Why not? As we sink down the
I was thinking about having like Danny get
Mhm.
hired by Scale and like do the work for her,
Right,
basically.
Have two
Sweet.
going.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
game the system a little bit, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Not at all.
And I guess we're coming up on an hour, even though we farted around. But I really wanted to ask you about Chuck Schumer and what your opinions are on what has been
I
going on.
don't. Catch me up on that.
Oh,
Oh, he came out yesterday with a speech saying that Netanyahu is an obstacle to peace, as is the leadership of Hamas, PLA.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I think they were all shocked that he's so foursquare in favor of Israel, or has been up to this point. I think people got a little blindsided.
You can be in favor of
did.
Israel, and you can believe that Israel has a right to defend its citizens and to do what it's doing, and still understand that the leadership on all sides has failed the people. Like, and this is what, the pro-Pally side in America and in the West doesn't seem to get. Or they're just so delusional that they're not ever going to get that. It is that the people, the citizens, are ultimately, innocent. Now, that doesn't mean that like all of the Palestinians are innocent, because that's the idea of terrorism, is the terrorists mix in with the population, and it's hard to tell who's who. But there are a significant number of Palestinians that have been fed bad information.
right.
And they don't hate Jews because they're just bad people. They hate Jews because that's what they're being told.
Right. And being told that they're hated. So then they attack, right? Oh, they hate you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I'll hate them more.
And then they're
Right?
being
Both
told on
sides.
top of that, that this land is theirs, when their ancestors are like Arabian, like came from Arabia, fool. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also
Judea, Arab, Arabia.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I know that
you also-
oversimplifies, but
Well, you also have to complement that, though. You do have the settlers on the Israeli side that are.
I don't even like that term, because it was theirs to begin with.
Well, I just mean the fact that they're going in and actually shooting people for land. That
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
Right.
I don't agree with harming like people.
Yeah.
At all, if it's avoidable.
Yeah.
The situation in Gaza, it's a war.
Yeah.
I get it. The people in Gaza, many of them want Israel to complete the job. They don't want Hamas to be in power. They see that Hamas has been stealing the food that was meant for them. That's why they attacked that truck. That's why they mobbed that truck. That's why they attacked the other trucks, because they're trying desperately to get to food that should be for them,
Right.
but Hamas is stealing it, and so they need to get to it before Hamas can get to it.
Isn't Israel also causing some trouble at the checkpoints as far as
You
sending
talking
trucks
about
back?
protesters?
No. Sending back trucks that the guy might have a bottle in the cab, and like that can be used as a weapon, that kind of thing. Where there's some real. I mean, I thought I had seen some interesting articles about sending trucks back that did not.
My understanding of that is what they're looking at is dual use items, items that Hamas can use as weapons or to construct weapons. The idea that it's all dual is absurd, because they have tent poles, because clearly they have tents. They're not doing that to food. They have medical equipment. Once again, it's Western media, buys what Hamas tells them, because they're getting that from Arabic media, which, has a dog in the game.
Yep. I'm sorry, interesting. Real quick, I don't want to take us completely off the track, but we had dropped off some papers at HYY yesterday and found out that one of the partners actually no longer wanted to participate because they didn't like the coverage from their Arabic. They didn't like the coverage from HYY, so they were not interested in moving forward.
I don't think you should say that on YouTube.
That's okay. We'll be fine. But I
I'm
thought that
sorry.
was interesting.
Are you talking about one of the
One of the
Arabic
contributors,
part?
yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Isn't it?
Right? Yeah.
That's
So
a
it's
shame.
interesting just to see both sides.
Like,
Like
that's,
you
I
know,
mean, I'm annoyed by all the propaganda, but like that's, part of having a free press is,
doesn't
people
always
are going to
jive,
write
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your job is to go out there and correct the record if you need to, which brings me to, where is that? And did I already pass it? No. Okay. The Daniel Harguy resign thing that you
Yeah,
had
yeah,
pointed
yeah,
out to me. I had actually done a bunch of research. Me open that up because I actually went back and
Cool.
read the original post.
Okay.
I had actually gone back and read the original post. I mean,
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
where's the share thing?
It's at the bottom with the
Oh
green.
yeah, thank you. Okay. So
Yep.
the claim is that Israeli army,
Mhm.
spokesman, obviously Hargay had resigned, and that is 100% not true. Where this kind of came from was there had been a conversation. Let me see if I can, let me pull this, stop sharing again, since you've seen that,
Gotcha.
and close that because there had been a conversation, some reporting done by Channel 14 News in Israel, Tamir Morag, um, which was covering like the military, like catching up on like resignations and like not resignations, but like retirements
Okay.
and other, forms of like ending of service, um, that had gotten like backlogged because uh of the war, because they had to stay on, and that's what that had initially started all of this. And then it was picked up by, Iranian, propaganda outlet, Al Jazeera, and echoed basically everywhere in the Arabic world. Like I read like, must have been like 50 different Arabic
Right.
articles, on this. And that's where the Daniel Harg Hagari,
Right.
sorry,
Yeah. Like,
Hagari.
what was the purpose of that fake news? I was very confused by it.
It's, well, the initial reporting was, like actual serious, stuff that the media is supposed to deal with. He got some information wrong and his reporting wasn't perfect.
Mhm.
Um, you know, got like minor details like of how, people left and whatnot, like for what purpose, that sort of thing,
Sure.
wrong. Um, but when the Al Jazeera and the Arabic propagandists, picked it up, it was to demoralize Jews and Israelis around the world,
Okay.
while uplifting, the pro-Palestinian cause.
Mhm.
They're basically saying with it, look, things are going so poorly for Israel in this war that all of these, spokespeople and other people in the military echelons are resigning
I
in
see.
mass,
I see.
which is absolutely not true and not what's going on at all.
I see. But that kind of reminds me of what's happening in the Republican House where everybody's resigning, but they actually are resigning.
Well, yeah, except yeah,
But at the same
this
time,
isn't true.
yeah. But I would.
If anything, the opposite is kind of true. Like a lot of these folks stayed on past their retirement and term of service
Mhm.
to make sure that they had the manpower that was needed to fight, the war in their various capacities.
Mhm.
But this is one of the things people forget. Is there isn't just a land, war that's happening. There's a propaganda war happening,
Mhm.
and that is the side of the war that Israel is losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, well,
Oh,
And so we're losing the war. And in America, we're losing the propaganda war as well, right? The right wing propaganda goes a lot farther.
yeah.
But-
Well,
we are.
I don't know if we saw this, but Al Jazeera issued a retraction.
They
about-
did. It was a little too late. It was like,
Oh yeah.
After it all goes around the world.
Right.
yeah. And like nobody reads retractions.
No, no,
Reads
no.
retractions.
You're right.
There are good. It is good that they did. At least do that. It doesn't matter that they did, but
Right.
at least they made an attempt.
Mhm.
The problem is everybody else is already using it, and nobody else is issuing that same retraction. So
Mhm.
No, no, no. And like the whole Ken Buck thing, when he left. Like he's super right wing, and yet he can't get along with our crazy white right wing jackals in our GOP now. So again, like how we're constantly losing this. So
On that happy
on
note.
that happy note, I'm so sad.
You can't-
Help me not be so sad, Corey. How do I?
He just told you can't afford it.
I know, but how do we not afford it? He just said just stop.
yeah, well, you
What-
guys
is
guys
there a
have to have
kernel of
kids. When you have kids, like you will realize I can't afford to be sad anymore.
Well, what's your kernel of hope? What's your current? How does this happen?
I look at my beautiful son
Oh,
and my beautiful wife,
Mhm.
and I have to be hopeful for them.
Mhm.
I have to be that rock that they need to be. They need from me. And so I put on my face, my happy face, and I fake that shit till I make it, motherfucker.
there we go. Oh, that hurts.
All right. So we're at, I think